All right, so Bitcoin dumped 10% with everyone who's involved in the markets freaking out. Let me show you what you need to look out for over the next week and why I think that alt season could be about to start. I'm also going to show you an altcoin that I've got my eye on for really good fundamentals that you need to keep an eye on. Now, make sure you watch all the way to the end, smash that like button, hit subscribe and the bell icon so you know when I'm uploading content. Now, let's get straight into the charts. First off, we're looking at Bitcoin. And what we can see is that we are putting in what we call a bump and run top pattern. Now, the way this works is we have our lead in phase, which is what we have here. We then see the bump phase where price accelerates really highly, then comes back down to the trend line for the run phase. Now, usually the target for this pattern is the start of the lead-in phase, which is just about here. So seeing that there is a potential that if we reject this trend line right now, we could come back to approximately the $86,000, $87,000 range, and that could lead altcoins with a bit of a bleed. However, let's just take a quick look. Here's a post on Empire social media platform. It's a social media platform for crypto traders. Get your free account. Link is in the description below. But basically, if we look at what happened in the 2016 bull market, we saw very similar price action around the exact same time coming into the end of November, where we saw a really big spike up, price came down, dipped below the trend line for about 2 days before reconfirming that trend line, and price continued up. Same thing in 2020. We had the lead-in phase, had the bump, we fell below the trend line slightly for a couple days before reclaiming that trend line, and then price continued up. Now, will we see this exact same pattern now in 2024? This is what I'm looking out for. In order for me to remain bullish, I really want to see price reclaim that trend and then continue upwards. However, if we don't reclaim this trend line, chances are that we could come down and visit that target between 87 to even 85 levels, which is what we don't really want to see, but we need to be prepared in case that does happen. Now, I was telling everybody in our community in Empire that coming up to 100,000, it's not going to be a easy resistance to break. The first time we hit it, it's not just going to slice through like butter. A lot of people wanted to take profits at that level, and we can see that we had a really large amount of sell orders, around 165,000 there. But now that we've touched this level a few times, you can see that the sell orders have slowly died off at around 144K. So we are seeing a little bit less. So am I expecting a break of 100,000 if we reclaim that trend? Well, personally, I think another two touches maybe before we absolutely break straight out, because we still do need to clear that sell wall. On top of that, we have at least seen a nice momentum reset on the indicators, telling us that we are now having more momentum to help us push through that large sell order. See, the issue is when we see a lot of selling orders and the momentum on the RSI is maxed out, it's telling us that the momentum is starting to die off on the buying side. And because we got such a large sell wall, we just couldn't clear it to break through that 100K level. So price will then come back down, the indicators momentum will reset before usually giving it another crack. It's just a matter of, will we go straight up there now, or will we see $85,000 first? So something to keep your eyes on. Now, we can see here, based on the 2020 data, Black Friday isn't just for the shops, for discounts at shops. We can see that it's actually usually presents a bit of a discount in the crypto market as well. And the correction started 2 days before Black Friday. It lasted 3 days, and it ended 1 day after Black Friday. It then took 3 days to recover. So we're seeing very similar price action in this year's bull market. There is a saying that history doesn't often repeat, but it often rhymes. So given the fact that this is what happened in 2020, let's hope we're going to see something very similar now in 2024, and we just won't go vertically down below that $85,000 range. So if we do reclaim that trend, we could start the big uptrend, taking us past 100,000, something to get really excited about. But let's have a look at altcoins, because I'm starting to think that alt season is really about to come, and this is where people that are involved in the crypto market tend to make the majority of their gains. So this post here from Christy, he's saying that alt season starts in less than 30 days. Clickbait or not, history doesn't often repeat, but it often rhymes. This combined with quantitative easing, which has proven to mark the rock bottom for the total 3 this cycle, makes me quite bullish for what's ahead. And what we're seeing here is, in the last bull market, we went sideways for 539 days before we reached a bottom and then broke out and saw the massive altcoin run. Right now, we're about 511 days into this sideways consolidation. One thing to take note of, though, is You can see here where we've marked the bottom, there was a bit of a flush before we went for that big leg up. And that leads me to believe that there is still a potential that we could still come and see $85,000 Bitcoin, as that will give the alts that last little bit of a flush before we head up. Now, once again, that is only if we reject the trend, we don't get above, we don't confirm. There is still potential that we could see 100 from here, but we need to be aware that we could still come down to 85 as well. As well as that, we're seeing the altcoins can have a huge surge upwards, and it's broken the neckline of the cup and handle formation. Given this data, if we continued up from here, we could see about a $3.6 trillion market cap for the altcoins, which could see at least a 3.5x on a majority of our altcoins, which would be fantastic. Lots of gains to be made. Another post here by TechDev. When alt season? Not sure, but the last two started after 3 consecutive weekly closes over the last Bitcoin weekly high. What he's saying here is we saw 3 weeks after the Bitcoin prior high had been reached, we then saw the Bitcoin dominance come down, and as that happened, altcoins ran. 2020 cycle, same thing. 3 weeks after Bitcoin dominance came down, altcoins ran. We are now about 3 weeks as well into this cycle. Will the Bitcoin dominance start to turn around? And what we're looking at the Bitcoin dominance, and I recommend all of you set up your charts very similar to this, where you have 4 different charts laid out next to each other. First one, you have the Bitcoin dominance, which is BTC.D. Then we have total 2. Then we have others. And then we have the BTC USDT chart. Now, what we're seeing right now is the Bitcoin dominance is coming down at quite a fast pace on the daily time frame, whilst Bitcoin seems to be stalling a little bit. More or less, if we did come down to 85, it would be building a bit of a sideways range, okay? Whilst that is happening, we are seeing the total 2 and the others start to go up, which is telling me that money is flowing into the altcoins. And if you understand the Bitcoin dominance cycle, for alt season to start, we want to see BTCD decreasing whilst Bitcoin is increasing, and that then leads to an incredible fast alt season altcoin run. But right now, I feel like we're either on the bottom 2, where it's BTCD is decreasing, Bitcoin slightly decreasing, alts are somewhat stable, some of them are increasing. So I believe that we're firmly in between these 2 levels here. But over the next week or so, given the data of what we've been seeing on those last couple of posts, if we do start to see Bitcoin keep going up and the Bitcoin dominance crashing, we could see a really explosive altcoin run. And based off the data, it seems like it's going to be due within the next coming weeks. So you need to be prepared. Now, alt season usually starts when the ETH BTC chart hits a historic bottom. And that's mainly because money flows from Bitcoin to ETH and then into altcoins. So when we start to see Ethereum start to turn around on the BTC chart, it is a really good sign. And if we are looking at ETH to BTC on the weekly time frame, what we can see is we have a really nice bullish divergence on the weekly time frame on the stochastic, on the RSI, the CCI, and we're starting to build a bit of momentum on the stochastic, which leads me to believe that we could soon start to see the price of ETH outperform Bitcoin relative to this chart, showing us that we could start to head up in Ethereum, and that would spark the start of the alt season. Very exciting times to come. But there is one altcoin that I firmly have my eyes on, and that is Chainlink. And the reason for that, as well as Ethereum, and the reason for that is because recently the BlackRock CEO came out and said that Chainlink should have gone up to $81,000 if there wasn't any buying restrictions. Now, me being a trader for so long, I think that that is massively, that's a massive prediction. I don't think that I see that happening. I think $100 maybe, but $81,000 is just stupid price targeting. But the thing is that Larry Fink is such a trusted person in the space, right? He owns BlackRock, which is the largest asset under management company, and they are massive. They own almost everything. And to hear somebody like him come out and say this, we could only imagine that this could bring in a little bit of buying pressure into Chainlink. On top of that, what we also have is Hashdex has filed for a crypto ETF yesterday, and Chainlink is one of the 5 coins that are going to be eligible for the ETF. Hashdex says that it's going to only include new coins with utility, new use case, and innovation, and that'll be in the ETF, but it will not include memes. So pay attention to Chainlink. If we look at Chainlink right now, it has gone on a little bit of a pump. If any of you are familiar with the Elliott wave, 5-wave theory, and we look at Chainlink, what we can see is that we have had our initial first leg up, and we could be getting ready to have our next leg up. We saw a really nice retracement here. And the way the Elliott 5-wave theory usually works is we have our very first initial pump, which is what we had, just like this. Then we have our first pullback, accompanied by another push, another pullback, and then the fifth leg is where we have the suckers rally, where the last minute buying momentum comes in before we tend to see a bit of a reversal. So hoping that this is the start of the second leg of the Elliott wave theory. Keep your eyes on Chainlink. Most importantly, full disclaimer, I'm not telling you guys to buy any of these coins. Keep an eye on them. Watch for your technical analysis to see if there's any entries based on what you're analyzing on the charts. Always do your own research. If you're unsure on how to trade and you want to learn, make sure to come and check out Empire. You can get your free account by clicking on the link below. You can sign up to our social media platform. We're going to give you access to education, and also you'll be able to see a community, or be a part of a community with active traders who are actively sharing what they are looking at in the market to help you stay ahead. So guys, that is it from me. There we go. You can see here we're currently looking at Bonk, and there's a couple of other bits of alpha in here that is really, really important. So guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you got some really good alpha out of it. With alt season around the corner, make sure that you're prepared, because this is the time where some people will be able to make really good amounts of money, but you do need to know when to time your entries at the right times, or you're going to lose a substantial amount of money. So jump into Empire, get that education. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to see you guys next week for next week's show. Bye for now, and have a great week trading. Bye.
Please take a minute to read and understand our disclaimer. If you do not agree to this disclaimer, please close this video.